Hi there, welcome to today's session. We'll be using the resistance band for our session today. I've got a medium band, it's about 1.5 meters long, so I advise something of that strength and length. We'll be focusing on making sure that we release areas that hold tightness around the front of the chest, awakening the muscles around the upper back and shoulders so that we can encourage really good posture and strength in that area of our spine. So great if you work at a desk, you spend a lot of time on your phone, which is probably everyone at the moment, and if you get any tension in your neck or shoulders where your head is in a more forward position. So this hopefully will be a great class for you. So we'll come and start with the knees bent and the feet flat. When you lay down on your resistance band, it should be making contact with your upper rib cage. So just let things settle for a moment. Support the head if you need it. Just become aware of the full length of your spine. Noticing where the top of your head is reaching to and where the tailbone is reaching. And then the ribs right in the middle. Letting go of anything that you don't need. Any tension, any busyness in your mind. So you can start to drop into a feeling sense of being rather than a thinking state of being. And just begin by noticing the weight across the backs of your shoulders. Notice if your right shoulder is making the same contact with the ground as your left shoulder, or do you sense differences between the two sides? And if you scan down to your rib cage, making a similar observation, do you sense one side of the ribs differently to the other? And sometimes it's a fact. It is heavier on one side and it is lighter on the other. Or sometimes it's just that sort of sense like, oh yeah, maybe the ribs are heavier on that side, or do I feel like I'm slightly tipping to the left side? Just observe what you observe for you. And we'll make the same scan down the body towards where the pelvis is meeting the floor as well. Again, noticing where you're heavy around the base of your pelvis on one side, and if it's the same on the opposite side or not. Just take a longer, slower, fuller inhale now. And then as you exhale, let all of the breath come out into your room. And we'll come and take hold of our resistance band now. So when you hold on to the band, it should just come and wrap around the sides of your body. And we're going to hold on to it with two long arms between the thumb and the forefinger. And when you hold on to it, it should feel like there's some resistance that you meet there. And we'll just reach the arms up towards the ceiling to feel that tensioning on the resistance band. But notice your shoulder blades have started to peel off of the mat behind you. And then guide the shoulder back down onto the floor and feel how the head of the arm bone goes deeper into the socket. Reaching up to move the shoulders off of the mat and then guiding them back down again. This is quite a small movement, but noticing that your upper back, it becomes a little wider as the arms are reaching up. So the shoulders move apart and away from the spine as you reach up, and then they come a little closer to the spine as you draw them back down again. If you imagine now, rather than initiating it from the arms reaching, imagine that you did initiate the movement from the backs of the shoulder blades. Notice if that changes the intention. Notice your breathing. Maybe it feels good to exhale as you reach up, to inhale as you come down. But feel free to play around with the breath. What feels the best? What gives you more sense of movement into the shoulders? So let's just do this one more time. One more time to reach up. And then as you come back down now, just let the arms open. Let go of the band slowly, carefully. And then we'll just let the arms settle onto the floor. And then just close your eyes. Sense the shoulders again. Is more of your shoulder blade now in contact with the ground than was before? Has anything shifted and changed? And really don't worry if you don't really notice too much at all, that's okay as well. So we're just going to lift the back ribs up and remove the resistance band, and then just let your ribs settle. And we're going to hold on to the band a little wider than collarbone width apart. So bring your arms up. The band will feel like there isn't much resistance there at all when you first start, and that is okay. So we want to have a bit of slack before we start to move. So now we're going to pull on the resistance band. You can pull between thumb and forefinger or a full fist, just gently holding on, and start to draw the band towards your chest, and then bring it back up again. And I realized then I had just a bit too much resistance, so I'm going to give myself a little bit more slack to move from. So we're going to pull, the arms reach apart, and the band goes towards the chest, and then come back up again. And as we do this, we're trying to keep the natural arch of the back. So we're trying to keep the lower back ribs in contact with the floor, just a natural curve at the back of the neck and in the lower back. So sometimes it's not possible to pull wide without flaring the ribs and lifting the back from the mat. But sometimes by propping the head up a little bit higher, you might find that your ribs are able to drop back a little bit more. So at home, you can always fold up a towel, pop it under the head, make your head a bit higher, and then it might mean that you're able to create more of an expansion in your chest without creating that front rib flare, which just simply means that we're focusing our attentions elsewhere rather than on opening the chest. So let's just keep going with this. So we're just opening up the front of the breastbone. Again, this is a super helpful thing to do, just especially if we're more rounded forward at the shoulder. 2 more. Make sure the band's always going towards the chest rather than towards the neck or the jaw or throat. And then now coming all the way back up. And then once you come up again from here, let's take the band and pop it to one side and give the fingers a little wiggle, let the arms release again. Check in with how that feels at the front of the chest. I definitely feel like I've let go a little bit. My shoulders feel more open. So hopefully you've noticed something nice as well. Bring one leg to tabletop and then the other leg to tabletop, where we're going to rock up into sitting. And then when you rock to a seated position, we're going to come and hook the feet into the resistance band. You'll also need to have a block for this class, which we'll use shortly. But for now, I'm not going to sit on a block, but at home, please feel free to sit on a block if it allows you to sit more in an upright alignment rather than sitting back here. So we want to stack the head over the ribs and the ribs over the pelvis for optimal alignment to focus on the upper back. I'm going to cross the resistance band over. So as you cross it over, you just wrap it around your feet a little bit. You should have some slack in the band for when you start to move. So to start with, we're just going to go for a double armed row. So both elbows are going to draw back, and then the arms lengthen, and we release the tone of the band. Breathing out to draw back, inhaling forward. Before you actually start to pull on your resistance band, imagine in your mind's eye that your collarbones are drawing further apart and that your shoulders are sliding together on your back. Then start to initiate the movement of the pull. Inhaling forward, exhaling back, and use your sitting bones as a guide. So if you imagine your sitting bones are like tent pegs and you're rooting your tent pegs into the ground, your head energetically reaching up towards the ceiling, the feet pressing into the resistance band, and then both elbows are drawing out and back. And we'll do one more like this, and then we'll start to add in a row. So now just right elbow, and as you pull with the right elbow, just gradually now start to rotate. So your left front ribs start to spiral around and your right ribs go back. And you can look over your right shoulder. And then gradually and slowly release the resistance band. to change sides. So you pull with your left elbow, you turn your right front ribs around, your left ribs go back, and then you release your left arm to bring you out of the rotation. Right-sided row, and then coming back. So keep alternating as you go, moving from one side to the other. Inhaling, exhaling. Keeping quite still through your pelvis so that most of the rotation is in your mid to upper back. One more to either side. Finishing as you rotate around to your left. And then coming back. All right, so now unhook your feet, reach forward, and then come and hold on, come and get a block, which we're going to use to sit on. I'd suggest a block just so that you can sit very, very comfortably in a very tall upright position without any tension in the hips ideally. So the resistance band is going to come in exactly the same place as we had it before when we were laying down on our back. So we're just going to flip it over the top of the head, bring it up so it comes underneath the armpit, so you're just around the top of your rib cage. And then the elbows are going to come in towards the side of the waist. The palms of the hands are facing open towards the ceiling. Your head is over your ribs and your ribs are over your pelvis. And we're going to let both of the arms reach forward. And this is going to pick up some resistance in the band. And then both elbows are going to start to draw back. Exhale as you reach forward and imagine that your ribs are pushing back in opposition, even though you're still staying very vertical on your pelvis. I'm just checking that now as I look in the mirror to make sure that I'm doing what I am asking you to do as well. Exhaling forward. So you can feel like your collarbones again, they're staying really wide, they're reaching apart as you serve the arms forward. And the band is really here for us to meet resistance, but in a moment it's so that we can feel where we're moving from. So now reach forward and pause. And then imagine the backs of your arms get longer. We're going to reach the tips of the elbows forward. So from there now, keep the shape the same and begin to open into a goalpost or a capital E shape. So the palms of your hands are facing forward. Your elbows are a little higher than your shoulders. Keep the elbows now the height that they are. And then start to rotate. And we're going to close the arms. Keep very wide through the collarbones. And then open again. Inhaling to come in. Exhaling to open. Keep an eye as the arms are moving in front of you. It's like have the elbows dropped. So you want to have your elbows as much as you can at the same height as your shoulders as you're moving. Imagine that your elbows are on a high work shelf and they're just sliding along the work shelf and then around. We're going to do 2 more. And then now last one. And then we're going to rest. Ooh, well done. All right, so now we're going to go to high kneeling. If you can't go in high kneeling at home, you can also do this exercise in standing, and you'd use your foot as an anchor rather than the knee. So know that this is an option for those of you at home who might be avoiding kneeling positions. If you're okay with a kneeling position, this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to take most of my band so that it's free and it's over towards my right hand side. And then I'm going to place the band underneath my left knee. And then once I've done that, I'm going to keep holding on, but with my right hand. So the band is under my left knee. I'm holding on with my right hand. And you want to have quite a lot of slack in the band. So we're working on strengthening a range of movement. So I'm going to go with this and we're going to see how it goes. So look down, just check that the knees are underneath you directly. Press into the knees just a little bit, the fronts of the shins and the feet. So you're really feeling the anchoring down through the legs, the pubic bone slightly lifting up and the tailbone slightly pointing down. The left arm is alongside you and the right arm holding the resistance band is going to come across. Both of the collarbones are open towards the screen. Draw now your elbow out and up and then come back in. So I know some of you at home might have done this already, but imagine that there's a little sword in your pocket and you're just drawing the sword out and up and then bringing it back in. So you go out and up, and at this point you're rotated in at your shoulder. And then you pause when you've drawn out on the sword, and now you rotate out at the shoulder, so it's the same position we just had before, and then we reach up to a straight arm. Now we start to rotate in at the shoulder where the elbow goes up to the ceiling, the arm bone rolls in, and then we come across. So I'm just going to do two where it's super slow. So we come out, drawing the sword, and then we want to go and wield the sword. Well, we don't, but it's that idea that we rotate, and then we go up. Now we rotate in at the upper arm and at the shoulder, and then come across. And then we'll just go more fluidly now, so it all just fits together. Keep open through the front of the shoulder and through the collarbones. Inhaling in, exhaling to draw out and up. One more time. And then from there, we'll come all the way and we'll switch sides. So now you want to have most of your band, so it's available to you in a minute when you hold on to it with your left hand. So the band's going to come underneath your right knee. And then we're going to level off the knees, just looking down. And then the left hand holds on. And again, often the strength in the shoulder and the arms can be quite different from right to left, left to right. So you might have less resistance on this side or more depending on how it feels. But again, just feel that anchoring down through the fronts of the feet and the shins. Again, slightly guide your tailbone down. Right hand comes alongside right hip. Left elbow now draws out and up, rotating open and reaching up. Then we rotate in and then come across. And again, we just moved a little bit more fluidly on this side, just because the movement is a little bit more familiar. So you stay rotated in, you rotate out, draw up, turn in, and then come back in. Really allow for the rotating in here so you get the full range of movement in the shoulders. And then we'll keep going here, we'll do two more. And then now last one. And then we'll fold all the way back in. And then we're going to rise to stand with the resistance band. So just take your time now to make your way up. When you come to stand, hold the band so that roughly this is around the width of your collarbones. And then your arms are long. And the palms of the hands are facing back behind you. Your feet are staggered, I was going to say then. They're sit bone width apart, so your toes are pointing forward. Let the feet press into the floor. And then reach the arms back to the wall behind you. So you start to meet this resistance now in your band. So now everything is going to stay as it is. Keep pressing into the band. But look with your head over towards your right. Keep your collarbones really square and open. But try and reach your left collarbone more out to your left. And press into the back of your left shoulder. So you haven't rotated your spine, but notice the left side of your neck got longer. Now turn your head back through the center, release that little press through your left arm. Keep the same tone in the band. Look to your left. Stay here and now try and reach your right collarbone across to the right more and press into the back of the right shoulder. And then turn back through the middle where we release the tone in the band. So this is going to become a little sequence now. So we'll reach down and back, exhale. Inhale now, look to your right, press left. Exhale, center. Inhale, look left, press right. Exhale, center. Inhale, arms forward. Exhale, arms press back. Inhale, look right, press left. Exhale, center. Inhale, left, press right. Exhale, center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms press back. Inhale, right, press left. Exhale, center. Inhale, look left, press right. Exhale, and then rest. Bring the arms down at your sides. And then just take a moment where you stand and notice your alignment now you've brought yourself up to standing. Like, do things feel more open at the front of your chest and shoulders? I hope so. I definitely do. So I hope you feel something good as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session together. Have a great day.